Hey everybody, David here. I'm going to show you a quick demo of my work so far. So I'm back home, California, and I've been cracking along on this project. And I think the things I've been working on have been pretty cool. So I guess the first thing you'll notice here is that we have a different start screen. So here's my lock screen. It's pretty analogous to a smartphone lock screen. So the reason I have this is that you accidental gestures or motions or people walking in their background won't do stuff when you want the program to be off or in a locked phase. So if I run around and stuff like that, nothing's going to happen. So I need to do the correct gesture to unlock it. Wait for a second. I need to refresh this. Okay. And basically, so let's see. So let's unlock it. So we put our hand up and we get the signpost on us how to unlock. And one thing I want to make sure to make this Kinect NUI is to make my interactions very physical. So if I slide it a little bit, you'll see that small slide. But in order to really unlock, you have to make an intentional gesture. So there we go. So here we unlocked it. So here you'll see some things that are different. So here on the bottom, what I have is basically a modifier. So it modifies the sensitivity of all my gestures. And the closer I get to the camera, the less sensitive it is, and the further I get to the camera, the more sensitive it is. So as I walk forward, I lose my bars of sensitivity. And there's 4 bars. And another thing these bars help me notify is, as I walk all the way back, I get the global menu. Now, so here I'm at 4 bars, and if I walk back one more, I'll hit the global menu. Here we go. And here we can do some cool stuff. So, let's slide through all this stuff. So sliding through is pretty intuitive, just going back and forth like that, sliding through our tabs, and from each tab we can select stuff. So here we have the Add Object menu. I could add different objects to my scenes, and if I have more time I could add more objects, but it's pretty simple. And the thing I want to emphasize is the idea that there's no, for a gesture interface, there's no on-off phase. So you can't press a button and it's on and off. Or like for a touch phone example, here I'm in my on phase, here's my off phase. So how do I initiate action? So the way to initiate actions is I have to confirm it. So here I swipe to the right to confirm it. So like if I want to add a cube, it's here. No. It's not liking me here. But if I add a cube, I swipe to the right. And so if I go that way here, so here's different stuff I could do. I could reset it, I could pause, and I could exit. So that's my global menu. And a lot of these things, these motion things, are just little kinks that I have to work out. And it's not based on position. It's just based on gesture. So it senses that I a gesture with a high Y magnitude, either down or up, and the interface changes accordingly. So that's one thing I've added. And as we go, so here's our scene, and basically I've been working on I've also been refining the different interactions. So let's look at our interaction. Let's look at our interaction modes, and here we have zoom, pan, and rotate. Now, rotate, I had a big challenge deciding what's the best way to rotate. I'll show you what I've decided on. So in order to even interact with the object, we have to select an object. And to select an object, basically you use either hand. Screen died, so let me refresh this. Okay, and the cool thing is, as you notice, as I walked away from the screen, it went back to the lock screen, and you could adjust the timeout. So basically, if it senses that nobody is in the interaction area, it'll just default to the lock screen, and you have to walk back and lock it again, unlock it again. So here we go, and the state's just what it was before. And so in order to select an object, I just hover over the thing and circle around it a few times. And so here we're in a rotate mode. So rotating on the X and Y axis is kind of like a trackball. So just going up and down like that, going like that, going like that. And then of course, as I go closer or further, my actions become more or less sensitive. And for Z rotation, what I do is I just go like this. So I have to start, these hands have to start together, and I either go that way or I could go this way. And I guess I just really wanted a really intuitive action. So rotating each way should seem pretty simple, and then as you rotate on the z-axis, you're kind of just going over that line. So that's what rotation looks like. And another thing, as you know, is as I change modes, I give the user extra feedback to remind the user what mode he's in. So let's go back to the pan mode, and I go like that, I exit, and we have this notifier, you're in the pan mode, and that's just a way for you just to get more feedback. And on the top bar, if you pay attention to the top bar, I have basically the state feedback. So here's how it works. So when I begin a motion, it becomes blue. So blue, I start a motion, green, the motion is complete and it's registered motion. It's a motion that we understand, so here I have an up gesture and it understands that. And it does that accordingly, it does the action accordingly. Now, it turns red, it goes from blue to red if I start out doing a motion that looks like a motion, that looks like a pan gesture, but ends up not being one. So for example, like, my hands are close together, I'm starting out, but I go like this in opposite directions. Now, initially, at the beginning it looks like I had a pan gesture, but it doesn't, so no animation occurs, and it just reminds me that, okay, you've done an action, but we know that you've done something, but it's not a correct action. And basically, as of late, I've just been working on tightening the gesture responses, so it's actually playing a lot with constants, figuring out the gains and figuring out the cutoff points. So as you see, not everything's perfect yet. If you go to rotation, like, if I, and this I still need to work on too, because it's, there's just some sensitivity level stuff to work on. Even for the rotation, I go left or right. So here it's too small. Oh, I gotta reset again. So, like, so here it looks fine, but if I go up or down, it gets kind of crazy. So it's just really fine-tuning the adjustments for how my gestures map to the on-screen interactions. And everything I built to this point uses basically starts with my motion segmentation engine, and as I build up these atomic actions, I look at them and basically do a lot of work deciding what kind of actions they are. Let's go back to the main menu for a second. So I guess some basic things. Reset the scene. So let me reset that scene, and yeah. So I go back to my original scene, and when I pause, there we go. We're back to the unlock screen. And I guess, as I mentioned in my previous post, I did some emphasis on the colors and the fonts, and everything just I want it to be bold and clear, because I'm interacting at a pretty far distance. So let's move that way. Okay, let's add something to the scene. Yeah, I don't know why my cube is not working. I need to go check. Okay, now it works. So even this, I need to check on to make sure how sensitive this is. So this is apparently not sensitive enough. So let's add a cube. And right now what happens is that my cube just goes to the position of my original cube, but as you see, let me go into pan mode. Yeah. So there's still some small bugs I need to figure out. I don't know why it's not selecting. But that's the general gist of it. And looking on Wednesday I'll have my full video up. So see you then.